The Barcelona assistant coach turns around and shoves Mourinho, drawing a sadistic poke from the Real Madrid boss, whose Galacticos were about to lose the 2011 Spanish Super Cup. A United manager wouldn't do that, Sir Bobby Charlton told The Guardian 15 months later. Mourinho is a really good coach, but that's as far as I would go really. He pontificates too much for my liking. The official Manchester United website says nobody embodies the values of Manchester United better than the Munich air disaster survivor and 1968 European Cup winner. It was therefore with great risk that the former midfielder's fellow directors appointed the divisive Portuguese in May 2016. Sir Bobby welcomed a grinning Mourinho on his first day at Carrington training ground, telling him, "I'm very happy to see you," as the pair shared a joke about the World Cup winners' brace over Portugal in 1966. But that rumbling distaste for the provocative coach was swept under the rug with less conviction than a Sprague hiding crumbs. Sir Bobby never publicly retracted his criticisms of Mourinho, nor did he express staunch backing of the third permanent successor to Sir Alex Ferguson, even after a first season which included Europa League and League Cup successes. United's two most famous knights of the realm were both reluctant to appoint Mourinho as Sir Alex's successor, instead opting for the respected Scotsman David Moyes. "We have secured a man who is committed to the long term and will build teams for the future as well as now," Sir Bobby said at the time. Stability breeds success. That, of course, did not ring true, but even during the close of Louis van Gaal's tenure, a man who brought the most placid of football to the theatre of dreams, Sir Bobby remained supportive. "Sir Bobby is on the board and is always backing me," Van Gaal told MUTV 1 month before his sacking. "He was my idol when I was young, and, now I have met him personally, he is such a kind, friendly man." There was never any public lauding of Mourinho, nor did the Portuguese suggest as much behind the scenes. And the reservations which Sir Bobby held in 2012 resonated with the special one's third season downfall in Manchester, as his defensive tactics bred disinterested players and his melancholy presence rotted the club from the inside out. Amid a litany of characteristics which suited United's values like a dad in skinny jeans, Mourinho continually broke one of Sir Alex's main doctrines. It was not that Mourinho allowed any player's ego to outgrow the club, but that he let his. 5 months prior to the incredible respect rant which took place after the Red Devils' 3-0 home loss to Tottenham in August 2018, Mourinho worryingly excused United's inexplicable exit to Sevilla in the Champions League round of 16 the prior term by claiming it was part of the club's football heritage, despite the fact United had departed at that stage as many times as they had reached the final since the competition's knockout phase reformation in 2003. Alongside displays of egotism and unaccountability to the media, Mourinho lost the trust of his players and the board after the side's 3-1 loss to Liverpool on December 16, leaving them 19 points adrift of their arch-rivals and 11 points off top four. Sir Bobby is not often pictured overlooking United from the stands, with that ilk of gaze which exudes his wisdom, but the octogenarian was intriguingly sat next to chief decision-maker and executive vice-chairman Ed Woodward that rainy Sunday at Anfield, and the pair were pictured talking to each other behind their woolen mitts. 2 days later, Mourinho was sacked. The 55-year-old's interim successor, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, was unexpected given his pedigree, but reportedly received the blessing of Sir Bobby and Sir Alex, who has visited the training ground at the Norwegian's request. In many ways, the mess which Mourinho left was the perfect environment for Solskjaer to flourish in. The basic values of the club had been lost. Pragmatism and caution overruled attack and risk, big characters were shackled, and young players were publicly shamed. Mourinho began to dissect the club's identity, whereas in Solskjaer arrived a man who simply loved everything it stood for. First of all, welcome back. How does it feel to be back? Solskjaer was asked in his first interview as United manager. With the expression of Augustus Gloop the first time he enters Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, Solskjaer initially replies, "Wow." A loyal servant to Sir Alex for 11 years and reserves team coach for 2, Solskjaer wasted no time outlining his plans to restore equilibrium at Old Trafford. "I had the best manager as a player to learn how he dealt with people," Solskjaer said before his first game. "It's about communication. I'll sit down and speak to the ones who are not playing. It's about getting every player to do their very best. It's about speaking to them, but of course it's on the training ground, getting your philosophy through, your principles and how you want to play. We play at Man United, and you play without fear, you play with courage, you go out and express yourselves, take risks. I want the players to be the kids that love to play football and go out in front of the best fans in the world." Compared to Mourinho's cold shoulder, the baby-faced assassin's arm-on-the-shoulder approach was enough to carry the confidence-injected squad through betting and fixtures against Cardiff, Huddersfield, and Bournemouth on momentum alone. Back to basics. Traveling to away games in suits. Filling youngsters with confidence. Attack takes precedence. Solskjaer has done what he always would have when taking the United helm. For all the tactical acumen shown in away wins against Tottenham and Arsenal, the 45-year-old's incredible impact has been amplified by the mess he inherited. The swift nature of Solskjaer's appointment felt like Woodward may have bought a pig in a poke. But it was only ever Mourinho who poking concerned, and Sir Bobby knew one day it would bring him the sack.